Rose, I am David Jacoby. We are Jalen and Jacoby. What is it that we
get
do?
the people what they want.
Jalen Rose, you and I both love semi-pro summer basketball action, and wow, did we have some this weekend in Los Angeles. The premier summer league is the Drew League, and that is the king, LeBron James, pulling up to the Drew, dropping 42 points and 16 rebounds, playing alongside DeMar DeRozan. Your thoughts, Mr. Rose?
First off, this Jalen and Jacoby. So we're going to pull everybody behind the curtain on this story about what it's like playing at the Drew and what professional players and street ball players mean to the community when they go back to play in situations like this. Fans that don't get a chance to pay for Laker tickets in LA, or when you in New York, Nets or Knicks tickets, or Pistons tickets when you in Detroit. So playing at summer leagues like St. Cecilia meant everything. And there was a time where players did this frequent. Tell me, Jacoby, one of your historic times watching one of your favorite athletes play summer league.
Oh, Friday night at the Kingdome. Friday night at the Kingdome in Harlem. I was a little scared while I was there, but I loved all the basketball that I saw. I fell in love with Lance Stevenson and a gentleman by the name of Homicide, who is now a friend of the program. Continue, Mr. Rose.
Absolutely, a family affair. So LeBron James and DeMar DeRozan playing against a team coached by LeVar Ball. And I've been in those situations on both sides, and it's just great to see those guys out there balling. But LeBron is also sending a separate message, is that he hasn't played NBA basketball in a long time. Like
3 months?
This ain't what he does every summer. You know why? Because usually he's playing into late June. Okay, so now on one hand, it's great that he gets a chance to give back to the community in a way, but it's another thing, he's also sending a message not only by playing, but by his comments and acknowledging the fact that we have a chance to get Kyrie. There was a rumor that Kyrie might play that day, but he ended up not playing. And so he's been spending a lot of time in Cali. And it's going to be interesting and going to summer league games. And so it's going to be interesting to see if LeBron can put the vice grips on the Lakers brass and force them to do whatever it takes to get Kyrie.
Well, I want to give a big shout to the NBA and the NBA app, because I'm on my phone hanging out with my kids, and all of a sudden I get a notification like LeBron is playing in the Drew. In one click, I'm watching LeBron at the Drew. Like, it was wild. I was like, this is amazing, in a live feed. And also, I have to be negative Jacoby just for 1 second. You got LeBron and DeMar DeRozan. Y'all got to win by more than 2. Like, they were up by 6, someone hit a 3, and there was a steal, and then they got it to a 1-point game. They fouled LeBron. LeBron went 1 for 2, and they actually had a shot to win the game that did not go in. But y'all got to win by more than 2 if you got LeBron James and DeMar DeRozan. But that is also a testament just how competitive that league is, and how the gap between, bench NBA players and Drew League players is much smaller than you think. Jalen, let me move this story on a little bit, because LeBron didn't just show up at the Drew. He also showed up on the Uninterrupted's YouTube channel that put out a new episode of The Shop. And here's what LeBron said about his mentality and his current team.
I'm obsessed with it, with win or bust. And what makes me have sleepless nights is when you don't have everyone that feels the same way on your club. Like, it's times where I wish I was like a tennis player or a golfer, where it was literally like, look in the mirror, mother is you versus you.
Okay. I understand what he's saying, but can I do the media thing and try to read too much into this? Is he taking subliminal, little subliminal shots at some of his teammates there?
Well, it's about the journey, right, Jacoby? And basically, what he just gave you a glimpse is to why certain great players, superstar, all-time great players, aren't necessarily the best coaches or even analysts, because like he said, they're used to being able to dominate the person in front of them, but in the team dynamic, that don't necessarily mean you win. You just told me that him and DeMar was playing at the Drew and only won by 2.
2 points.
You see what I'm saying? And so for LeBron, at his age, you know how this works. People who are the most honest are kids and the elderly, or those that just feel like they ain't got nothing to lose. And in LeBron's case, he's like, I'm 37. We ain't the favorites in the West. We got a chance to get Kyrie. Do it. I don't care about no draft picks. I don't care about compensatory. I don't care about if me and Russ ain't talking. Like, whatever we got to do. You know what I'm saying? Rich Paul even sending out tweets like it's a cold game. You know what I'm saying? So, like, there is a sense of urgency as there should be. Because I'll ask you something. That's why Darvin Ham signed up. Like, I talked to Darvin Ham. He won't win championship. He won't win championship. They want AD to stay healthy. They won't win championship. And so, like, it ain't just him. And I know that in a team dynamic, the world is going to focus on the headliner. But every time LeBron won a championship, you can remember, oh, Ray Allen did hit that three in the right corner. Oh, wait, Kyrie did hit that three on the right wing. Like, Kevin Love did do a good stop defensively against Steph Curry. Like, and so there's a team element for sure. But it's just the difference between being an all-time great in an individual sport and obviously a team sport.
So, Jalen, I'm going to do the media thing and take this even further and try to sensationalize it.
No.
Win or bust mentality. I need everybody on my club. I'm obsessed with winning. I want to put myself in the best position to win. He didn't say that last part. I put that in there. This is the last year of his deal, Mr. Rose. What if after this year he says, this is not the best opportunity for me to win and I'm obsessed with winning? Perhaps I should just look at the landscape. If this year goes like last year did, and he's obsessed with winning, and he can find a better place to put him in a better position to win, don't those things make you feel like he could exercise that option?
Who was it? Drizzy Drake said, don't do it. Please don't do it. So let me get this right. You deliver a championship to Laker Nation. Mm-hmm. You're still averaging late 20s.
Oh, yeah.
One of the elite players in the game. You also have Anthony Davis on the roster, a top 10 player. Y'all just brought in Darvin Ham, one of the elite young coaches. He's going to be in the game. And you going to bounce? Like, this is where the social media era is going to work against a great player like this. If he was to do that, that would be the equivalent of KD going back to the Warriors. Like, we would talk about, like, their greatness and appreciate it, but you won't ignore those chapters in the all-time great book. And so I don't believe he leaves the Lakers. Now, obviously, if he has a chance to play with his son, then I guess all bets are off. But under other circumstances, just leaving because next year we not good enough to win it all and he's on the team, he's not going to be able to do it.
All right, if there's some health problems and they end up out of the play-in again, we will readdress this conversation. Now it's time to move on to another superstar who is making some sacrifices to win himself. This is what James Harden said about his new deal. Quote, I told Dale to improve the roster, sign who we needed to sign, and give me whatever is left over. This is how bad I want to win. I want to compete for a championship. That's all that matters to me at this stage. I'm willing to take less to put us in position to accomplish that. Jalen, that sounds amazing, but there's a little part of me that says maybe you're taking less because you're not worth the max anymore.
Well, he's invested in himself, right? Like, this is his final chance at this point of his career, based on everything he's accomplished. A future Hall of Famer, top 75, been an MVP of the league, but he's been a declining player, still averaging 20 and 10 since he left Houston. That's an absolute fact. And look no further than this year's playoffs. It's almost like when Embiid wasn't out there, even if they had Harden, it was like they didn't have a chance. And so now all of a sudden, on paper, people can call it a pay cut, but really he was hoping to get a big deal. So since he ain't getting a big deal, he's basically taking a haircut. I'm going to invest in myself, reinvest in the team. Therefore, if we win, and I've been telling you this for summers, Jacoby, when he reinvests in being in shape and being in the gym. You saw the video with him and Maxey and Sam Cassell. You saw the video right wing working on the pick and roll action. You know he's been in the Hamptons with his owner, Michael Rubin. He's doing all of the right things, staying in the incubation of the team this offseason. That now hopefully leads you into a landing, a runway to have a great season, a long playoff run. Now y'all revisit this next year and you're like, all right, now it's time to do my 4-year deal. But otherwise, it's not going to happen. They still got to win. And it's going to be interesting to see how healthy they can be and how consistent they can be going into the season.
So I'm very gullible when it comes to the quality of NBA teams during the summer because James Harden, he's talking to Chris Haynes about this. He says he's in shape. Last year, he was hobbled with the hamstring the entire year. Their Joel Embiid, James Harden pick and roll numbers are just like off the charts, one of the best in the league. They bring in Tucker, Daniel House, DeAnthony Melton. There's a part of me that says, you know what? The Sixers are going to be pretty good next year. I really feel that way because I do feel that James Harden was not 100% last year. And with these new pieces, one of the problems is they didn't just lose Ben Simmons, who wasn't playing. It was the Seth Curry and Andre Drummond did deplete their bench a little bit. They've restocked a healthy, in-shape Harden. Joel Embiid, in a lot of people's minds, was the MVP last year. Could this team come out of the East if they're healthy?
Yes, they could.
I think so too.
And that's the first time you've heard me say that. And it's based on what they have done this offseason. But again, they're still going to clearly need Embiid to continue to play at an all-NBA MVP level. And they're going to need James Harden to play at an all-NBA level. They're still going to need that. And I agree with you. Maxi's still going to improve. He's been, like, the sky's the limit for what he can bring to that team. Tobias Harris is still going to be a solid veteran that can score and play within a team dynamic. Thibault is a lockdown defender. You know, they have a squad. And I just got to say this also. I'm really proud of my NBA brothers that have taken coaching jobs here recently, even new jobs like Amani Williams, only been there a couple of years, or even like a Willie Green or Ime Udoka, have done a really good job like turning around those squads. Chauncey Billups is going to do it next. But I want us, and Darvin Ham is going to do great.
And don't forget Mosley in Orlando
exactly.
too.
Jamal Mosley, I like what they're doing. But I want to see Sam Cassell get a legitimate head coaching opportunity. I feel like he's next to fall in line with that group.
And we've seen videos of James Harden and Sam Cassell working out. Those are the kind of the off-season videos you want to see from James Harden. We have some videos of his running mate, Joel Embiid. He ain't in the gym working out. He's at the wedding, dancing the hora, a traditional Jewish dance. Look at him having so much fun. And they have this another tradition where they pick you up and put you on a chair. Look at him getting it in. Jalen, I love this so much. I want to be invited.
I love this. Like the great American philosopher David Jacoby once taught me, we don't celebrate enough. And not only do I enjoy seeing Joel having a good time, that looked like it took $1 million to get him there. So not only did you have a good time, but you got 7 figures to be there. That's a beautiful thing.
He knows somebody. He's involved somehow. And also, when you get Joel Embiid to your wedding, you know you're getting a good gift. You know what I mean? Joel Embiid, he's not putting $100 in a card. You know what I mean? When you make as much as Joel Embiid does, you know you're getting a good gift. Jalen, we've discussed LeBron James of the Drew League, and we've discussed the potential of...
Last season they were swept by the Boston Celtics in the first round. Durant previously won 2 championships with the Golden State Warriors in 2016-17 and 2017-18, earning Finals MVP. As one of the most accomplished stars in the game, Russell Westbrook has already cemented his place in basketball history. But now, at 32 years old, he's struggling to prove he's still the same high-impact player he was in his prime, as his current tenure has been plagued with difficulty and disappointment, evidenced by LA's 5-5 record to start the season. In short, he just hasn't been a good fit, and it will be a major challenge for the team to figure out how to make it work. Worst of all, the Lakers had the chance to trade for Kyle Lowry and Buddy Hield instead. Their unwillingness to trade Talen Horton-Tucker is what ultimately led to the Westbrook trade. Before last season's trade deadline, the Lakers could have traded Dennis Schroeder, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and Talen Horton-Tucker to Toronto for Kyle Lowry. but chose not to do so because they didn't want to lose Talon Horton-Tucker, wrote Reddit user Jack64467. If they did so, they could have signed Lowry to an extension, as he did want one if he was traded at the deadline. Instead, the Lakers let Schroeder walk in free agency, and traded Caldwell Pope along with Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell, and a first-round pick to the Wizards for Russell Westbrook. Also, Kuzma and Harrell, but not Caldwell Pope, were part of the trade package the Lakers would have sent to Sacramento in exchange for volume shooter Buddy Hield if the Lakers could not get Westbrook, so they could have had Buddy Hield along with Kyle Lowry if it wasn't for them wanting to keep Talon Horton-Tucker.